Right now, there is probably a folder on your computer that you have been quietly avoiding, a pile of supplier invoices you keep meaning to total up, a mess of customer notes from the last 3 months, last quarter's numbers sitting in a spreadsheet that nobody has opened since you saved it. If you already use AI, you are most likely doing it the slow way by copying a bit of text into a chat window, reading the answer, and pasting it back out by hand. That works, and honestly, it is a fine place to start. But today I want to show you the step that actually changes how a small business runs, the one where the AI opens your real files and folders and hands you back finished work, the copy-paste tax. Let me describe the slow way first, because most people are stuck in it without even noticing. I call it level 0. You have a chat window open in your browser, you want help with something, so you open a document, find the part that matters, select it, copy it, switch over to the chat, and paste it in. Then you type your question and wait, the AI gives you an answer. You read it, copy the useful part, switch back to your document, and paste it where it belongs. For one small task, that is completely fine, but try to run a real business through that workflow and you start to feel the tax. Every single file has to be opened by hand. Every result has to be rebuilt by hand. The AI never sees the whole picture, only the thin slices you decide to feed it. And the moment you have 10 files instead of one, the whole approach quietly collapses because nobody has the patience to copy and paste their way through a folder of 40 invoices, so the work just does not get done. Instead of you carrying text back and forth like a courier, you give the AI access to your files directly. It can open the folder you choose. It can read every document inside it. It can look at the spreadsheet, the notes, the templates, the old work you saved years ago, all of it at once, and then it can write a finished file back out for you to actually use. You stop being the messenger, you become the person who points and reviews. That is the entire shift, and it sounds almost too small when I say it out loud, but in practice it is the difference between a clever chatbot and a real assistant that quietly handles the boring parts of your week, the parts that never quite make it to the top of your list. Think about how you would brief a new staff member. You would not read them your files one line at a time. You would hand them the folder, tell them what you need, and let them get on with it. Level 1 is finally letting the AI work the way you already work with people. So what does this actually look like on your screen? You have a tool running on your own computer that is allowed to see one folder you have chosen. Not your whole machine, not your bank logins, just the folder you deliberately pointed at. You tell it in plain English what you want done. Something like, look at every invoice in this folder and build me a clean summary of what I spent this month, grouped by supplier, with a total at the bottom. It reads the files, it does the work, it writes a brand new document and saves it right there, next to the originals, where you can find it again. You open that file, you check it over, and if it is good, you use it. If something is off, you tell it what to fix, in plain words, the same way you would talk to a junior staff member who is keen but still learning the ropes. No copying, no pasting. You point, it works, you review how it actually works. The shape is always the same, no matter what the task is. Step 1, you point it at your files. Step 2, it reads them properly all the way through, not just the first page. Step 3, it does the task you described. Step 4, it hands back finished work and you review it before anything actually happens with it. That loop, point, read, do, and review, is the entire game. Once you have watched it run just once on something real from your own business, the old copy and paste habit starts to feel a little ridiculous, and the same loop scales. It does not matter whether the folder holds 3 files or 300, the steps you take are identical. You point, it reads, it does the work, you check it. The machine handles the volume that used to break your evening, and you handle the part that actually needs a human, which is deciding whether the result is good enough to use. Let me walk through 3 examples now. I want to be clear that these are illustrations, not promises about your exact business, but they are the kind of everyday jobs this shape handles really well. Example 1, invoices. First, supplier invoices. Say you have a folder where you drop every invoice as it lands. PDFs, photos of paper bills, the occasional scanned receipt, the whole lot. At month end, you would normally sit down and type them into a spreadsheet so you can finally see what you actually spent. Instead, you point the AI at that folder and ask for a clean monthly summary, grouped by supplier, with a running total. It opens each file, pulls out the dates and the amounts and the supplier names, and writes you a tidy spreadsheet or a short report. The job that used to eat a whole evening becomes a few minutes of you checking that the totals look right. You are still the one who confirms the numbers and signs off on them. The AI just did the tedious extraction that you always hated doing anyway. Second, customer notes. Most small businesses have these scattered absolutely everywhere. Half a conversation buried in your email, a few lines in a notebook you typed up once, some messages you copied into a document and then forgot about. On their own, they are just noise. So you point the AI at the folder where you keep them all and ask it to organize everyone into one simple follow-up list, who you spoke to, what they were after, and what the next step should be. It reads through the whole mess and hands you back an ordered list you can actually work from first thing Monday morning. Nobody slips through the cracks anymore because for once the notes got read properly, instead of just sitting there as good intentions you never quite got round to acting on. Example 3 proposals. Third, proposals. You have written dozens of them over the years, and they are sitting in a folder somewhere, the polished ones and the rushed late night ones all mixed together. A new inquiry comes in. Normally you open whichever old proposal feels closest, save a copy, and start hacking it into shape for the new client. Instead, you point the AI at your folder of past proposals, give it a short brief about the new inquiry, and ask for a fresh first draft that borrows your best structure and your usual pricing layout. It reads your real work, picks up how you write and how you price things, and hands you back a starting draft. Not the final thing you send out, a first draft that gets rid of the blank page. You take it from there, add your own judgment and the details only you know about this client, and you send something that still sounds genuinely like you. You stay in control. Now the honest part, because I am not here to oversell any of this is a capable assistant. It is not magic, and it is not always right. It can misread a messy, faded invoice. It can misjudge what you meant by a vague instruction, so you stay in control every single step of the way. You review the output before you ever use it, the same way you would check the work of someone you only hired last week. While you are still learning, you keep it pointed at copies of your files, not your one and only original, so a mistake costs you nothing. And you start with low-risk jobs, the internal summaries and the rough drafts, long before you ever let it touch anything that goes straight to a paying customer. Treat it that way, with a bit of plain sense. It is genuinely one of the most useful tools a small business has had in years. Treat it carelessly, it is just a faster way to make a very confident mistake. The difference between those two outcomes is you doing the reviewing, the tool does the lifting, you keep the judgment. If this is the first time the whole shift has actually clicked, I have put together a free course that takes you from level 0 to level 1, step by step, with nothing assumed and no jargon. It walks you through installing Claude on your own computer, setting up a tool called Warp so the AI can reach your files safely, and only the files you allow it to. It walks you through running your very first project on a real folder of your own, and then making a simple skill which is just a saved instruction you can reuse, so you never have to explain the same task twice. There is no coding background needed for any of it. It is built for the owner who actually runs the business, not for a software developer. Each step is short and each one builds on the last, so by the end you are not just following along, you actually understand what is happening and why. You follow it once, on your own files, at your own pace, and you come out the other side with that copy and paste tax gone for good, and a setup you can keep using every week after that. Where to start? So here is what to do next. Pick the messiest folder you have got, the invoices, the customer notes, the old proposals, whatever it is you have been avoiding, and decide right now that it is going to be your first project. Then head to ifirstazia.com/level1 and follow the course from the very start. It is free, it is practical, and it is built specifically for Singapore business owners who would rather build the system once than keep talking about it forever. And if you want more of this, plain practical AI workflows for SME owners with no hype and no magic tricks, then subscribe. I make these so you can run a leaner, calmer business without having to hire a whole tech team just to get there. Point it at your files, review the work, and let the boring parts start handling themselves.